everyone, welcome back to the Heikian channel. So for today we're going to be learning about how to find an angle and perhaps use your calculator. And if you don't have one, your teacher will hopefully provide you a link with a calculator that you can use on your laptop. So let's get started. Today's learning intention is to understand how to find angles in right angled triangles and to use the inverse sine, cos and tangent. Your success criteria today is to be able to use your calculator to find the unknown angle, whether that's the actual scientific one you've got at home or the link that we've sent you. You need to also be able to identify SOHCAHTOA in your right angled triangles, so a bit from last or previous lessons, and you need to be able to round the angle to the nearest degree and not leave it in decimal points. So what is the inverse sine, cosine, and tangent? So just a bit of a recap. I always say sine, but I always spell it as sin. And I might just actually change that color to white. Okay, and I say cosine as cos, and I say tangent as tan. Okay, for those of you who are wondering. So inverse sine can be written as sine with a -1 at the top. Alright, I might just change that color because you can't see to black. Alright, and inverse cos is written like that, and inverse tan is written like this. Alright, so I know at the moment this might just look like random bunch of formulas, but realistically speaking, if we cross out the a and b, okay, so opposite the right angle we have our hypotenuse, which is denoted by h, and then next to the angle we have A, and opposite the angle we have O, and that's when our SOHCAHTOA comes into play. So sine, cos, and SOHCAHTOA. There we are. Okay, and that's how we formed this is how we form it. So if I was to write inverse sine, okay, it would be sine, -1, O over H. Alright, so this is just giving you just A, B, and C, just for a textbook reference, but in reality, this is what we're using for sine. So the same thing, so cos would be written like this, okay, and tan would be written like that. So you might want to pause this and write that down, and if you haven't written your learning intention and success criteria, you'll have to do that as well. So just a little note that sine -1 doesn't mean that it's a fraction, because as far as we have previously learned in indices, you have to do x to the -1, and last time we used to write 1 over x1. That's what we used to do in when we learn about indices, but now we don't need to do that for Pythag theorems. So for the first example, we're going to be using the calculator. So to find the value of theta, okay, the question might ask you this, because, what is that? So what you need to do is, I've just got a picture of a calculator. You can just ignore that. I've just done it just so that you can see the calculator buttons clearly. So what you need to do is you need to turn on your calculator. So step 1, turn your calculator on. Alright, and then what you need to do is you need to click the shift button, alright, and the shift will give you access to all of these buttons at the top. That's why it's the same color. So if you look at cos, okay, because we are dealing with cos in A, you do shift and you press cos, and that will give you cos -1. So I need you to do that now, shift cos, and you should get this on your calculator. This is what you'll see. Then what I need you to do is I need you to type the degree into your calculator. So I need you to type, so now that you've got cos -1 with an open bracket, you just type 0.416 because we're doing A, and then just close the bracket, so 0.416, okay. Sometimes if you're in the speed of the moment, you don't need to necessarily close the bracket. It will still give you an answer. So then it will give you an answer. Okay, so my answer was 65.41769,296. Alright, but see how the question says to the nearest degree up the top here? nearest degree. So then you need to read the question. All right, and then you need to round it to the nearest degree. That's to nearest degree. That's what it says. So with this answer here in 4, the nearest degree would be 65. Okay, so you just put 65 degrees. Now we're finding the angle, remembering theta is the angle. So for those of you who have forgotten, when you have a triangle, it's like that. That's what it is. All right, and that's how we determine our hypotenuse, you know, our adjacent side and our opposite side. So sometimes it won't tell you to round it to the nearest degree, but most of the time it will. And you need to include this symbol here. That's like a degree symbol. So for example, you know, if I was like, hey, what's today's weather? You were like 5 degrees Celsius. I hope this looks sort of familiar. It's this little circle here. It's the same one you're doing there. All right, so now I'm going to do B for you, just on the, just going to do B for you, just so that you've got more practice. I probably would recommend that you work alongside while I'm doing this. Oh, I should have left the numbers, but that was my accident. Yeah, I just want you to do this while I'm doing it so that you just have more practice and you can pause it whenever. So step 1, you know, we're doing B now. So turn your calculator on. Okay, now we're doing tan now. So what you have to do is you have to do shift. Okay, so shift is up here and you've got to find tan. They're all next to each other. So this one's tan. You want the negative of tan to find the angle. So you write shift tan, and that will give you tan negative 1 open bracket. So now you need to type in your little tan negative 1 bracket 5 over 3. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to find this button here. It's like a little fraction. It's a white little square with a clear little square with the line in the middle called the vinculum. So what you need to do is you need to type the fraction in. And this one I'm not going to close the bracket just to show you that you can still get the answer without the closed bracket. So once you've found your fraction button and typed 5 at the top and 3 at the bottom, so I need you to do that now, you'll need to move around using these buttons here, all right? And then after that, you press enter or equals. Press equals. I forgot to say that before. You must press equals. And it will give you 59.03624347. All right, that's like all I see on the calculator on my screen. Okay, now it says here you need to round it to 1 decimal place. So you read the question and it says to 1 decimal place. So I'm just going to put DP for decimal place, but I'll just write it for those of you who don't know what I mean. So then you've read the question, it says 1 decimal place. Question 4 has your answer from the calculator. So what is 1 decimal place? Okay, it's literally one number after the decimal point. All right, now this number here is 0. So to get a bit of an idea, all right, you look at the next number. Now if, just a bit of a recap for rounding, all right, if the number is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, you round down. Okay, if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, you round up. All right, and if you're unsure, just double check with your teacher and they'll go over that concept with you. So now that I'm looking at 59.0, I just round down, so I can actually just keep that number, all right, because the next number here is 3, and 3 is still rounding down, all right. If this number here was 59, let's say it's 59 point, let's say 08, okay, 8 is in these list of numbers, so it would go up. So if I was to round it to 1 decimal place, it'd be 59.1. So you just add to that one. You add 1 to whatever number is here if that number is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. Okay, so we've got 59.0, and because we are finding an angle, all right, make sure you just do a little angle symbol, all right, and if it doesn't, feel free to leave it as a decimal. So now we're going to move on to the next example. So here it says find the value of theta in the nearest degree. So this doesn't give you sine, cos or tan. You need to identify it. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find what the hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent side is. So we know that the hypotenuse is opposite the right angle, so this must be H, hypotenuse. I'm just going to write it down. Okay, next to the angle is adjacent. I'll just write the full word down just so you can see it. And opposite the angle is the opposite side, so I'm just going to write opposite there. All right, so here we can see the numbers that we've got access to is A and H. So we can see it's A and H. So which one here out of SOHCAHTOA ends with A and H? So the answer is cos. Okay, because cos is A and H. So the first one is denoted by sine, cos, and tan, and the last two are denoted by the sides of the triangle. So now we know it's cos, right? So we know it's cos. You write cos theta, okay, equals AH. So cos theta equals, let's put A as 5 and 6 because that's what I've got as H, all right? And you're trying to find the angle. So the question is asking, find the angle. So to find the angle, you now must use the inverse. This means you need to find the inverse of whatever the question is implying. So in this case, we're finding the inverse of cos. Okay, and that's what you type on your calculator, remembering you don't have to necessarily do the closed bracket. So theta, so with your calculator, you need to press shift, you need to click on cos. All right, you need to now click on the fraction button and type 5, arrow down 6, and then you can move it up if you want, you don't have to. And it'll give you the answer, 33.55730.976. All right, now it says to the nearest degree. So this is where rounding comes into play. So nearest degree, I'm looking for whole numbers, all right? So make sure you note down, nearest degree is whole numbers, not decimals, okay? So now, you just look at this number and you go, well, before, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, well, let's just, because we know 0 is before that, round down, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, round up. That's what we said. So we go 5 is round up, so let's just make sure what's this number? So this is round up. So if this is round up, you plus 1 to that. Okay, so that would actually be rounded to, if it was the question was asking for 1 decimal point, you would say 33.6 because that is round up. So you add 1 to the next door neighbor, which is 6, and then you go, well, 6 is that round up? Yes, it is. So now you plus 1 to your next door neighbor. So the final answer, I'm just going to have to write it over here, okay, would be 34 degrees. That would be your answer. So you write, therefore, theta equals 34. And I might just erase that line there. Oh, yep, there we are. All right, so hopefully that helps. If you need more clarity on how to use your calculator, just let your teacher know. And that's all for today. Be sure to pause when you need to, and thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for our next video. Bye.